Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan Metal video. In this video we're going to be taking a look at how well the AGL Bardock does after his Extreme Z Awakening in the Omega Shenron event. Now Bardock, to be honest with you, is not so bad. I think a lot of people give him a really hard time. Obviously the low class warriors restriction and locking a portion of his damage behind wicked bloodlines isn't great. But in this team here, we only have 3 low class warrior units, and he tends to do fine. He does take a little bit of time to get going, and he doesn't reach super duper like high peaks. Like, he's not going absolutely insano, but he is, generally speaking, doing a really good job, I think, of just being like very consistent. And I think from like a performance point of view, that's kind of all you can really ask. I think, considering his restrictions, he actually does really well. We have a decent chunk of damage reduction here. He holds his own systematically, which is very good. And I think ultimately at the end of the day, he does a really great job overall as a unit. So, damage wise, not crazy, but considering his number of restrictions, I think his performance overall is pretty good. The weakest stage for him by far and away is definitely the tech phase, the first phase. You probably want to use at least like an Icarus or something there, because it is definitely a little bit of a difficult situation for him. Largely because of the fact that he ultimately does have type disadvantage, and also suffers from a little bit of the fact that he can't dodge or anything, and he hasn't built up his defense yet. Once you get past the tech phase, the strength phase really is quite fine for him. With his 30% damage reduction, his now built up defense, and his type advantage, he handles this phase actually quite impressively. He really does quite well. The only thing he's really lacking in at this point is damage. And then in the final phase, the end phase, as much as obviously he's not necessarily the best unit for it, he actually is pretty impressive because of the fact that he can transform, he gets that dodge, he gets that damage reduction now flat, so no requirements for the low class warriors, and obviously it's a bit higher than what he's currently had. And he also gains that attack boost. He gains all those crits and those boosts and everything really good about it. So all in all, once transformed, he actually holds his own quite well. Obviously it's only for the first 5 turns, and you're still reliant on the dodge mainly to survive the super attacks. But generally speaking, I would say he honestly really does look quite impressive. I think he's really surprised me with how well he does here. And for me, overall, he really does a fantastic job and is really good. So that's basically it for me. Honestly, really impressed with his overall performance. I think on this Earthbred Fighters low class warriors team, he does a fantastic job. And I think overall he is doing a good job overall. But that's basically it for me. Let me know how you found his performance in some of the harder events. I'll be trying him out in the red zone next, but I think overall he's really impressed me with how well he actually did here. So I gotta be honest, I was quietly impressed. I think, considering all the flack he gets, and considering how many restrictions he has, the fact that he holds his own in the events is pretty good. Obviously, people will say, well, he's not dominating them, or there are harder events, and I do understand that. But I think overall, it's still a big jump from where Bardock was. And having any kind of usability really is quite impressive, considering where he was as a unit. So overall, some really good stuff, and very happy with his performance. If you guys want to leave a comment, it's obviously great, and I'd love to see what you guys say about his performance.